Everyone, today we will discuss on the topic body cavities. Human body is organized into several cavities. It is a fluid filled inside the body that hold and protect the internal organ. Human body cavities are surrounded by the membrane and other structures. There are there are two largest human body cavities are first one is the ventral cavity and second is the dorsal cavity. These cavities are subdivided into smaller cavities. We see Firstly we see the ventral cavity. It is at the anterior, which is located front side of the body. Organ contained within this body cavity include lungs, heart, stomach, intestine, and reproductive organ. Ventral cavities allow for the considerable change in the shape and size of the organ and then it as they perform their function. For example, organs such as lungs, uterus, stomach can expand or contract without distorting other tissues and disturbing the activities of near organ. Ventral cavity is divided into subdivided into two parts, which is separated by diaphragm. First is the thoracic cavity and second is the pelvic cavity. So first is the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is the division of the body cavity that lies above the diaphragm and is bound peripherally by the wall of chest, including heart and lungs. Thoracic cavity fills in the chest and is subdivided into pleural cavities and the pericardial cavities. Pleural cavity holds the lungs and the pericardial cavity holds the heart, separated from rest by diaphragm. Then second is the abdominopelvic cavity, which is located below the diaphragm. Is abdominopelvic cavity consists of abdominal cavity and pelvic cavity. Abdominal cavity hold the digestive organ and kidney, and pelvic cavity hold the reproductive organ and the organ of excretion. Abdominopelvic regions are umbilical, epigastric, right and left lumbar, right and left hypochondriac region. These are the abdominal pelvic regions, and which are the abdominopelvic quadrant. First is the right upper, then left upper, then left lower and right lower. These are the abdominopelvic quadrants. Then second body cavity is the dorsal, which it is at the posterior or back of the body, including both the head and back of the trunk. It is subdivided into two parts. First is the cranial cavity and second is the spinal cavity. Spinal cavity is also called as the vertebral cavities. Firstly, we see the cranial cavities. Cranial cavity fill most of the upper part of the brain and contain the brain. Cranial cavity is also known as the intracranial space within the skull. The skull is also known as the cranium, contain the brain. Meanings are the protective membrane that surround the brain to minimize the damage of the brain when there is a head trauma. It is the meningitis. Meningitis is the inflammation of meninges, which is caused by the bacterial or viral infection. The space between meninges and the brain are filled with the clear cerebrospinal fluid, increasing the protection of the brain. Facial of the bone is not included in the cranial cavities. Then second is the spinal cavity, contain the spinal cord formed by the vertebrae. It protect the spinal cord and provide the structural support. Spinal cavity is a very long and narrow cavity inside the vertebral column. It runs the length of trunk and contain the spinal cord. And other body cavities are there are smaller space within the body and also play a critical role. In this first one is the oral cavity. Oral cavity contain mouth, teeth and tongue cavities of digestive organ. Second one is the Nasal cavity, air filled air filled space behind the nose and involved in the respiration and olfaction. Then third one is the orbital cavities, which is located to the eye and associate structure. Then next one is the middle ear cavities, which contain ossicle, which is a tiny bone and involved in the hearing. Then what is the function of the body cavity? First one is the protection. Cavities provide a protective environment for the delicate organ. Second one is the organization. They help the body structure. They help organization the body structure and ensuring that the organs are located in the specific area for the efficient functioning. Then third one is the movement. The cavities are allow for the movement and expansion of the organ, especially in the thoracic and abdominal area during the activity like breathing and digestion. That's all about the body cavity. Thank you.